You are being microwaved. Purpose of this video is to help everyone, but most likely if you're watching this video, you're a targeted individual or someone who has serious health complications and you're looking for answers. So I'm here to give you some answers. The biggest countermeasure, the most protection is knowledge. Understanding how the technology works. Read all the links in the description. Subscribe to my channel. Learn from me. I am a conceptual thinker. I'm an intuitive. I read between the lines, okay? Biggest thing is knowledge. The United States Army said in the bioeffects of selected non-lethal weapons that it would be psychologically devastating if someone that was unaware of the technology, ... And I'll finish that sentence later. And basically what they're saying is that if someone doesn't know, it can be used on them to large effects, to affect serious health complications. Knowledge, excuse me, knowledge is everything, okay? Now that you know it, it's going to be harder for it to be used against you. If you didn't already know it, now you do. Let's go a little step further. V2K, of course, the end of that statement was it would be psychologically devastating to someone that was unaware of the technology if they suddenly heard voices in their head. Well, yeah, you could use that to harass someone. You could, if they didn't know it, they would think that they were mentally ill. That's why they use the term psychologically devastating. It's chilling that the United States Army put that in a document about testing this technology and then declassified it in 2006 for all of us to read. That's... But anyways, that's the truth. Now, the technology, if you don't know about it, it could be used to harass you. You might think of it as voices in your head, and it could be used to harass you, but it could also be used to influence you, right? They've got, remember, you have to understand what you're talking about here is a huge military apparatus run by a foreign nation. When I'm talking about the U.S. Army, I'm never suggesting that the U.S. would do it to its own citizens. I'm not suggesting that at all. I'm saying that foreign governments have 8,000, there are 8,000 satellites orbiting the Earth, and many of those are owned by foreign governments. Many of those are over your house right now, and people hate the United States and would harm us if they could, right? They all have the same technologies. Dr. Alan Frey, very clear about this. The Frey Effect is named after him. He developed it for the United States military in the 60s. After the Cuban diplomats were attacked, he pointed out, he goes, well, it probably would never be the entire nation, but rogue elements within. He goes, you're always going to look at Russia. He goes, they're our biggest adversary. They have the same technologies. So they're going to be, or anyone they've shared it with, obviously. So the system is run by a large AI. You're talking about the most powerful computer systems in the world. Those computer systems have on file your voice, maybe from social media posts, maybe because the satellite has a laser listening device on the window of your house. So it's been recording what you've been saying the whole time. We'll get to that in a minute. Once you have someone's voice, you can deep fake that voice. You can have the computer generate what seems like an original thought because it will sound like them. You ever been driving down the street, thought to yourself, I kind of want a cheeseburger. Or, oh, I could really go for a beer. Or I could really, man, a shot would be great. That is very easily replicated with V2K. You would never know it. It sounds like your inner monologue. It sounds natural, but it's synthetic. And it was a satellite communication, a private message, as the U.S. Army calls it, that was delivered to you by the foreign spy satellite that is above your head. Now, understanding that now you're going to divide people roughly into two groups. You're going to divide people that you're trying to attack and hurt, and then you're trying to, the other group would be the people that you're trying to reward for not doing anything about it. The first group are the people that you know are going to stand up and fight. You've already identified those. You're trying to attack them to slow them down and kill them or screw up their lives, right? So the next step is to identify or realize that any negative thought you have could very easily be delivered to you by satellite. Let me rephrase that, not very easily, is being delivered to you by satellite, by the satellite that is above your house, using the same microwave beam that is bringing my video to you now. Same type, not the same one, obviously. If you're watching this on a wireless device, whether over Wi-Fi or a mobile device that is coming to you on a microwave beam, foreign satellites are loaded with dishes. Imagine a cell phone tower in space, right? A satellite with a cell phone tower duct taped to it. Joking. all the dishes and transceivers can handle tens of thousands of people all at once, just like a communication satellite. It can handle tens of thousands of GPS requests, for various devices all at the same time. Well, it can also handle tens of thousands of attacks on humans, right? If thought is negative, and again, you're watching this video because you're a targeted individual, that thought is almost certainly from a satellite, or you at least have to stop and think about that. Once you realize this and you start to identify negative thoughts and realize that they're probably being delivered to you to hurt you, the system, which is brain scanning you at all times and following you around with a microwave beam everywhere you go, is now logging that you know. So it's going to attack you less because it's not going to have the same effect anymore. Once you realize that, it's a game changer. The system can't hurt you the same way it could before, because before you were just anxious and in a cycle of anxiety or depression or fear, and then turning to drugs or alcohol or whatever to satiate, or food. This is why Americans are overweight, on drugs, dying deaths of despair, dying early, chronic illness, on pharmaceuticals, anxiety, depression. It's everyone in America that they see as a threat. It's everyone in America, but everyone that they see as a threat is getting that treatment. And that's why, at the very least, sicken almost everyone or attack them even worse. Once you know that, that is the biggest countermeasure. The system will now see that you know that, and now it becomes less beneficial, less rewarding for the system, because you're not going to go for it anymore. You're going to understand that when you have that thought like, oh, I'd like a beer or a hamburger, you're going to stop and think, do I really want that? Or is that what the satellite, the system and the satellite above me wants me to think, because that will hurt me and affect my health and maybe kill me sooner? Once you start to think that way, the whole thing comes crumbling down. Once everybody understands that, the system is useless. It's just a chunk of metal in space. Yes, it can still irradiate you. Yes, it can still cause you pain. It can hurt you in lots of ways. But those very subtle attacks are really the crux of it, because those are, is that the right word? Did I use that correctly? Those are the primary, because you would never know what they were. You would just assume that it was an original thought. You see what I'm saying? They're very easy to hide. The best attacks are the ones that you don't know were there. Pain, it's a little more like, well, what's going on here? The worst headache you've ever had in your life came from a satellite. Every single American, the worst headache that they've ever had was delivered by a foreign satellite that's above their head. Think about that. Those are the mental countermeasures. I'm going to stop the video here, 8 minutes in, because we'll get to more physical countermeasures. The number one countermeasure is knowledge, knowing it. Know it through and through. Convince yourself. You have to get rid of doubt. You have to get rid of uncertainty. You have to get rid of fear, controlling emotions, and this is all about that. Once you understand that, you can control doubt. Now you know, and when you know, there is no doubt, and doubt is critical to these systems, because you have to be wondering, what's going on? Why do I feel this way? Once you know, it's over. It's over. I'm not saying I'm going to stop attacking you, but the effects are going to be minimized instantly. I'm going to stop the video at 9 minutes here and move on to another subject. We'll get into more hardware, countermeasures, anti-tinnitus V2K, etc. So thanks for watching.